Hi all, Brad Wright here from the Single Malt Whisky Club, and this month sees our final instalment of our Tassie Trifecta 2020 that we've been running. And this month we are really proud to be not only featuring another awesome Tassie distillery, but we've got something a little bit special for you that you've never heard before on this channel. We're going to be looking at a beer as well as a whiskey. So we've got a Ironhouse Tasman Whisky, and we have got an Ironhouse Porter aged in the same cask that our whiskey, and we are pretty bloody excited about it. And here to chat with us about it is the head honcho at Ironhouse, Michael Briggs, or Briggsy is his name. G'day, Michael. How are you today?
Good, Brad. Thanks for having me, mate. And thanks for your support, mate.
Mate, no problem, mate. Thank you for your beer and your bloody nice whiskey. We are, as we've just been speaking about, my beer turned up literally 5 minutes ago, and I have been hanging to try it. So we'll do that in a little while. But first we'll have a bit of a chat, mate. The White Sands complex.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about it, mate. Is there anything you guys aren't doing down there?
Well, at the moment, we sort of got our hand in a little bit of everything at the moment, but I guess the complex as a whole has grown from what it was originally brought for. Somewhat 16, 17 years ago, it was brought by my father-in-law, specifically for the boat ramp. He worked out real quick that the boat ramp's expensive to keep with the land tax, the 200 acres that surrounds it. So the accommodation sector of it was still here, so he thought in his wisdom and amongst our family discussions was to create a microbrewery on the east coast of Tasmania over that time. So here we are 15 years down the track from when the first brew was done here on the east coast, and and we've grown up in a distillery since that time. So a very, very brief overview, but the whole complex was specifically brought from the father-in-law for the boat ramp. So as silly and frivolous as that sound, he had a vision locked away in his head there somewhere, and this is where we are today. So,
mate, as a lifelong boating and fishing tragic, mate, I completely applaud his decision, and I have no doubts about that it was the right decision. There was a ramp involved, so and so let's have a look. You've got, if I got this right, you've got a brewery, distillery, a vineyard, a restaurant, accommodation, and a boat ramp.
That's
anything
correct.
I've left out?
We're in the midst of building a winery at the moment here on the side as well. So yeah.
Right. So up till now, you've just been supplying the grapes. You haven't been doing any.
We've been engaging with a contract winemaker, and they've been making all of our wine. So that's where we've got to. But the commercial realisation of it is we'll be much better controlling that destiny with our own winery. So yes.
Yep.
But, in a nutshell, you've covered it, mate.
It sounds huge, mate. And Brent and I were supposed to come down early in the year. We booked our tickets the day before you shut your borders. We were devastated, mate. We were looking forward to coming down and having a drink with you guys. And of course, you're the other half of the Ironhouse is Craig Spilsbury, who's not here with us today. I suspect he's hungover, or is he working?
No, he's got a whiskey event on tomorrow night, ironically enough, and he's having today to prep himself for that and probably give his liver a little bit of rest before tomorrow night, I imagine. Yeah.
I know I've dealt with you and Craig throughout this process, so you're both sort of involved. What are your specific roles in the distillery / brewery?
Well, Craig puts his hand to everything. We do have another integral couple of cogs in the wheel here within the brewery and distillery, and that's Pete, our assistant brewer, or probably pretty much our main brewer at the moment. And we've also got a bloke by the name of Wags, which does everything from filling bottles to whatever is asked of him. So we've got a pretty good, a tight-knit team, but specifically Craig is my sales manager. He's the, I guess you could say, the face of the company. He's the guy that's out there beating the street. But in saying that, he's certainly been throwing his hand up to spend a bit of time in the distillery and get involved with the distilling side of things. So I fully embrace that, and he's been he's been my right hand man now for the best part of 5-6 years. So he's certainly a very, very important part of our business. And obviously my role, since obviously the brewery in its inception 15 years ago, I've been pretty well running the brewery and creating the brewery and the distillery since 2015. So my role is managing what I'm managing, and also managing the whole complex here at the moment as well, is specifically keeping production going and doing the lion's share of all the distillation. So yeah.
Okay. How did you get into brewing / distilling? Was it a hobby at the start, and or you just decided to learn about it to take advantage of the land your father?
Probably very lightly what I touched on before, Brad. Based on the growth of the complex here, we decided to invest in a craft brewery. At that particular time, I was managing the resort with my wife, and the question was raised, well, who's going to do the brewing? And the father-in-law looked at me and said, well, you need to learn how to brew. So it's all been pretty well on-the-job training, if you could say that. A lot of reading, a lot of researching, and it's been on the job, flying as I go in that regard. So the brewery was hatched as an idea. And it led me to, as I said, spending probably 2 years prior to the commissioning of the actual physical brewery, because the brewery itself came from Seattle. It came from the States, so I had a couple of years up my sleeve by the time we purchased and found a brewery and got it shipped, and then basically built a little shed up the back to put it into place to start with. And and turn the key on it and fire away and get Ironhouse Brewery into the marketplace. So the distillery is an extension, obviously, of the brewery, and the decision was made back in 2014 that we were going to go that way with the distillery. So.
Okay. Yep. Right. And where do you get your ingredients from? I'd say that'd be Tasmania, would it?
Yeah, absolutely. All base malt is Tasmanian malt, so malted at Joe White Maltings, or Carvel as it's the company's commonly known. But got a very, very good relationship with the maltster there, with Baldy there, and it's great. We get bulk of bags picked up every Friday. The father-in-law brings them down with the trailer. He's down here every weekend running amok and doing what he wants to do, and driving machines and digging up paddocks, and he's always bringing the best part of 2 ton of malted barley down every weekend. So it's a nice little I guess luxury to have the maltster literally in our backyard. When I say in our backyard, it's in Devonport. That's where the father-in-law works, and he drives around the corner at lunchtime, picks up 2 ton and keeps coming east. So yeah.
Your favourite part of the distillation process? What do you like doing the most?
Obviously the cuts, mate. Certainly heading into the heart of the cut is where it's probably I get most excited with it, and just to see that journey of that sort of that heart run, and just to see the variances and the little indiscrepancies that you sort of pick up as you go, because every day and every distillation is different, Brad. So I find that intriguing in the fact that there's, as consistent as what you're trying to do from a process point of view, every distillation is different. So it's remarkable distillation as an art, I guess you could say, and just and feeling your way with those cuts, and certainly obviously of a morning when you walk in and heat the thing up for 2-3 hours, obviously you catch up on your caffeine addiction and things to get that out of the way real quick and shake off any cobwebs that you might be carrying from the night before. But certainly once things start happening and you start getting that the transfer coming across, things start to get pretty exciting at that stage. And I love it, mate. I think it's I just love every distillation day. I think it's fun, and we have some fun with it. And Spilsy's in the distillery always keeps me on my toes and keeps me entertained with his death metal and whatever else is coming through his speaker box. So it's we have lots of fun up here on the East Coast, mate. So yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. And mate, I just wanted to go back and just touch a bit more on your decision to set up the brewery, the distillery, once you had the brewery. Now, it makes perfect sense the way you said it. But it was a brave decision, I think. You could have gone two ways. You had that output of beer. You could have tried for mainland or overseas, but you decided to use that.
Look, we're 30,000 litres, looking at it holistically, of being shy of our capacity. So we're thinking, well, that 30,000 litres of beer can certainly, we can certainly try and sell that outside of Tasmania, because we felt, 5-6 years ago, we were sort of, with more and more breweries coming into the space, it's going to get harder and harder to get a shelf space or a SKU on a tap. So we were very mindful of that in our strategic approach to it. So to have that 30,000 litres sitting there, we're thinking, well, how can we get to capacity? So then we harebrained the idea of maybe obviously looking at making some wash with some other distilleries. We approached a few other distillers. They were sort of contractually bound, or they had their alliances already lined up with who was making their wash. So we sort of come back not so much deflated from it, thinking, well, fuck, okay, which way do we go from here? And basically, excuse my French, we said, fuck it, we'll distill our own stuff. And that's how it came about. Crunch some numbers, and then we went shopping basically for a still. We spoke obviously first and foremost to Pete Bailey down here in Tasmania, that makes the best part of 98% of the stills, certainly in Tasmania and probably around Australia. But we went for a little bit more of an efficient hybrid system, and we found a system which is manufactured out of Germany, a Cody system, which is a 1,500 litre pot with a hybrid column. So we had we've got the flexibility in being able to obviously be able to fraction our distillate into neutral as well, if for all our other distillation with gins and vodkas. So the Cody system sort of ticked all the boxes for us, mate. And that's how the whole idea of a distillery came about, was based on, I guess, volumetric sort of measures to get to capacity with a brewery. And now we're finding ourselves probably making more wash for distillation than we are beer. So it's done a complete turn on itself, which is great. And it just, I guess, solidifies and consolidates our decision 6-7 years ago to go this way. So yeah.
Righto. And back to the stills itself, we were just talking about. Now you've got an unusual setup in that you don't use a plain pot still. It's what you call a hybrid still. So it's half pot still and half a column still. Can you give us a bit of a idiot's guide to how that works?
Oh no, yeah, no. Fine. You're only dealing with an idiot common sense with me, mate. So that's easy to explain. So obviously there is a pot. We can run the pot on its solidarity own. So we tend to use the fractioning still, as I said, for our neutral stuff. But we're also using the column still because we've got the fractioning plates that we can either open or close up. And when it's specifically I'm doing a brandy run, or specifically obviously a whiskey wash run, where you're not trying to strip the flavour out, you're trying to keep all of those congeners coming through. We're able to control that level of the distillate coming through the column with how we open and close the plate. So what each plate obviously acts as is a distillation. So we basically run it through two plates. So we're actually doing two distillations in one pass. So the efficiencies of that one pass, and to get it out the other end and basically finish off with an alcohol of around 100, or volume of around, on a 1,500 litre pot. Our efficiencies are, we're running between 120 to 140 litres of distillate, about 80%. So all that process, as opposed to doing the first distillation, and then doing a spirit run distillation, is it's saving us the best part of 12 hours. So.
Right, so it all happens in a continuous batch. You do your wash and your spirit there, right?
Complete continuous distillation where it's done, and like I said, we control the level of the flavour through those plates in the small column. So it's a 5-plate column. It's not a real big column, but it's a column obviously good enough for what we're producing. So as I've already touched on, between neutral to gins, to brandies, to obviously our single malt whiskey. So yeah, it's a fun bit of kit to play with. It's really easy still to balance out. We've touched wood. We haven't had any sort of major issues with it. She behaves herself really well. So
nice, yeah. Excellent. And as I've read, when the still arrived to you, it arrived in pieces without instructions. Is that right? Or is that...
That is correct. We've got a very clever guy here by the name of Michael Briggsy. He's our mechanical engineer here. So we had a 40-foot container turn up, and it turned up, and I literally rang the guys who are based in Chicago. I said, mate, have we got any sort of instruction manual with this thing? And he said, well, the instruction manual is based on our labour coming over there, and they wanted to charge us the best part of $40,000 to fly over here and commission it. And I thought, well, that's an expensive bit of instruction kit. So we stripped the container out and looked at photos from when it was actually built in the factory in Germany, and basically built in photos. So again, full testament to our mechanical engineer here, Nicola. He put it together, and away we went.
I've been talking for a while, and I'm getting a bit thirsty, mate. Do you feel like having a whiskey and a beer?
It's probably 2 hours past my drinking time. So yeah, we're at 11 o'clock in the morning. So let's do it.
Nice one. Let's have a whiskey. So for people wondering, there is the packaging right there, the Tasman Whisky Single Malt Whisky Club Special Edition Bourbon Cask Matured Whisky. It's fantastic, beautiful colour, mate. I love your bottles. Really nice packaging, mate. I'm not a big packaging person, but every now and then something just grabs me, and I do like that, mate. It's bloody nice. Now this whiskey, look, it's really nice. Look, my tasting notes, mate. I made on the nose. I get a real sort of wheat bix and honey, as well as that sort of fruit. So there's that real maltiness there. There is the dried fruit. There's vanilla there, of course, and also there's a bit of a salty on the palate. I get a bit of a salty sort of a note just at the end of it. Not strong at all, but just a touch, you know.
Yep. Certainly. We have had a lot of comments in regards to that salt influence that we do have here. We are literally only 100 metres from McIntyre Beach, from where our barrel room is downstairs in our bonded area. So it's northeast facing. We've got natural ventilation facing that northeast, and that's where we get most of our wind and our weather from. So strategically placed where it is on a warmish day, it is quite nice. It is fully stone walls downstairs, so it is quite temperate in the sense of we do get our highs and lows, but not to probably the extreme that's, I guess, some sort of bonded sheds might get sort of down south. And I don't know whether that lends to that saltiness. Obviously, being 100 metres from the sea, you're not going to get much closer than where we are. In that sense, so yeah, we certainly carry that element, and yeah, you certainly know the difference with the characteristics that come out. Certainly, we have a listing pattern here, and we're getting a lot of sea fog rolling in. It's quite obviously humid, and the moisture in the air is quite significant. And to have we've witnessed it before where we walk into the bomb store and we can actually see the sea fog in the bomb store. So quite unique in that sense. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, I know there's a bit of a debate going on Facebook in a few of the different pages in Facebook about whether it's all bullshit or whether it's real or whether it comes from the distillate or whether it comes from the environment. I tend to be on the side that it's a product of where it's been aged. It just seems the evidence is pretty clear to me. So would you subscribe to that as well by the sound of what you were just saying?
Yeah, I would. It's like saying Santa Claus isn't real. I don't buy that. I know he's real. So I certainly buy into it. Obviously, someone would say that you're buying into that because you're 100 metres from the beach, but certainly a bourbon influenced whiskey single malt to a single malt age, obviously they're going to be completely different whiskies from something that aged down south. There is a much distinctive tone that comes through with the spirit. So Yeah, let's buy into that, and let's not forget that. It's a real thing, just like Santa Claus and Easter Bunny, mate. So,
Mate, I'm with you there, mate. Yep. If you don't believe, you don't receive, mate. Nice one. Well, I'm going to do something now that I have never done before on camera. Never had a need to do it on camera, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to crack a beer.
yes, mate.
I don't know if anyone has been following and realises, but we've actually commissioned the perfectly matched boilermaker for this month. So not only do we have one of the Ironhouse Whiskies, we've got one of their beers as well, and we've aged this for 3 months in the same barrel that the whiskey came out of. So I am really looking forward to this crack. Very best beer glass here. Now, why a porter, mate? Why did you recommend we do a porter?
It's interesting. I did read a couple of comments on the Single Malt Facebook page where people, I guess dark beers can be very polarising, Brad. People love them or hate them. There's no in between with dark beers. But with a dark beer, you're looking at something. You're looking for malt to be able to carry I guess the whiskey and the tones to come from the barrel, and you want them to harmonise together, Brad. So people ask why a porter. Again, being a brewer for the best part of 15, 17 years now, we've done some barrel-aged beers before. We've done ales, we've done porters, we've done stouts, we've done dark IPAs that had a woody influence. And honestly, mate, an English-style porter is something that just carries through those tones where, one, the wood doesn't overpower the beer. It just harmonises and binds really well with the beer because you've got those malt character, those strong malt, chocolate malts and caramel malts that are in the beer that just really just tone really, really well against a little bit of bourbon wood. To be honest with you, Brad, there's no other way of putting it than the fact that to me it's the best style to go with this. Well, to go with wood. Yes, you can do it with an ale, but you find that they end up being quite thin, and you find that they actually dry out very, very quickly, certainly when they're making that contact with the wood. So having a little bit of malt backbone with the beer against the wood and with the whiskey, because it was, as you said, we literally decanted the single malt out of the barrel and then we put beer straight back into it. So it was a very, very great barrel. You can't get any greener, and we were very aware that the wood's going to react very, very quickly and with the beer, and we didn't want it to go too far against the beer, so we just needed those, I guess you could say, leaks to carry the beer through for the 3 months, and and the end result's there. So obviously with a boilermaker, it's all about the connection between the whiskey and the beer, and we've done it in 3 parts here, obviously with the barrel aging, but to have a nip of that bourbon cask whiskey and then just follow it up with a little bit of a beer chaser, honestly, mate, it's a very, very good marriage.
Oh, fantastic, mate. Beautiful.
I hope you like it, because we're pretty stoked with it, mate. And I'm sure all the punters out there are going to experiment and try it. And again, it can be polarising, but if you like a bourbon cask whiskey, you're going to like the porter, I can guarantee you that.
Mate, I tell you what, it's 10:30 in the morning and I'm having a beer and whiskey, and it's fucking great. It's really good. Anyway, I think if you haven't tried a porter before or you're worried about it, it looks very dark, but it's just not as heavy as it looks. It's a nice, creamy, it's a full-bodied beer, don't make any mistake about that. 6% alcohol, so it's no lightweight. But it's not a hard beer to drink. In fact, this is going to go down easy before.
And it's to me, if I'm going to get all food wankery with you, it's a perfectly matched beer with your cured meats or your strong and tight meats and your game meats, and to have one of them and finish off with a little gram of Tasman single malt bourbon cask whiskey. Nice kind of venison, mate. I don't think you can go far wrong with it. So.
Nice, mate. No, it's absolutely bloody brilliant. So I promised I would do about a 10-minute interview. I've kept you now for over bloody 40 minutes, I think. So I'll let you get back to doing some distilling. But for everybody, this month The third instalment of our Tassie trifecta is a Tasman Whisky, an Ironhouse Porter, both from the same brewery / distillery. Aged the whiskey, decanted it into the bottles, put the beer in for 3 months and aged it in the same cask. So that is our matched boilermaker. Michael Briggs, thank you very much, mate, for the last couple of months working with us on this. We have been so pleased and proud to be involved with you, and just really wrapped that this has all come together the way it has. Literally 5 minutes before the interview started, I got my beer in the mail. It just turned up, so it was all very serendipitous. Thank you very much, mate. We look forward to watching the whiskies go out the door and the beer go out the door now, and we look forward to doing some work with you down the line.
Absolutely, mate. I'd like to thank you, mate. It's been an interesting journey since you contacted me, and the fact that you guys are going to be here in March, we're really looking forward to having you down here and really showing you around. But that time will come in the not too distant future. And yeah, obviously I'd like to thank the Single Malt Whisky Club and all its members, and I hope you get around the Tasman expression that's coming out this month, and don't be scared of a dark beer, that's for sure. So
Nice one.
Dark beer matters, mate. So that's where it's at.
Awesome. Michael Briggsy from Ironhouse, thanks very much, mate. Looking forward to selling more of your booze, and looking forward to working with you down the track. You have a good one, and we'll chat soon.
Happy days.